According to American Pediatrics, 40 violent movies were seen by a median of 12.5% of an estimated 22 million U.S. adolescents aged 10 to 14 years old. Children are extremely vulnerable group exposed under the violent film industry. A recent researcher says the more children watch violent movies, the more they think violence is normal.
They become desensitized to aggression and violence. And I think that the more they're exposed to it as well, the more they're likely to use that form of behavior to solve problems.
What is the representation and ideology from violent movies? The representations are created more likely to be ignored by audiences. The scripted from movie are encoded by the media experts with special background settings. The violent film could be interpreted as a certain way to act in children's daily life. The process could be explained by Stuart Hall's notion that decoded understanding, that TV and other media audiences are presented with messages that are decoded or interpreted in different ways depending on an individual's cultural background, economic standing, and personal experiences. Inequalities are noticeable in violent movies. Children could follow and learn how to act in a violent situation. It reflects a male-dominant society. Men usually play as saviors, heroes, or key of the movies. Women more act as subordinate beside the portrait of heroic males. Good and evil are clearly distinguished. The white superiority are heavily reflected in the violent films. They represent superpower beings who often are described as characters with goodness. The non-racial white groups are mostly supporting roles. They are to be killed or destroyed. Gender differences are displayed in violent movies as well. Male presents masculinity in film. Guys need most likely acquire a quality of the muscle to have a battle. Females, even in violent movies, women obtain the quality of slender body shape and good-looking appearance. Also, the young audience often accepts these representations from violent films. They learn and perceive certain ways to act from the visual observation. As Lena Christensen describes, media instructs young people to accept the world as it is portrayed in these social blueprints. In the political economy of media views about violence for children, every image on the media contents particular purposes and functions. All the settings are highly scripted. In violent movies, the corporation decision maker or media owners determine the entertainment scenario in order to gain profits, especially in the violent movies of cars. The certain brand are remarkable to show out as advertisement in front of children. The young audience has less sense of control and power in this case. The corporation also cultivates consumers and the potential in long term. As Douglas Sneller explains in Toward a Critical Media Cultural Studies, media spectacles demonstrate who has power and who is powerless, who is allowed to exercise force and violence and who is not. They dramatize the legitimate powers that be and show the powerless that they may stay in their place or face powerful forces of repression. The shaping function, message, and information from media are appeared as commodity for profits in capitalist-oriented societies. Ladies love your box. Johnson gives notion of patriarchal, capitalist, white supremacist, media manipulation, and commodification. Violence are used as one of the greatest part to sell strategy for a movie, even many children are able to access in. According to Media Foundation data, 2/3 of Hollywood films released in 2001 were rated R, and 80% of R-rated movies with explicit content warning labels were being marketed to children under 17. The corporations are in absolute control as they use it to force special meaning, manipulation, and control of children's imagination. Media literacy and violence at the same time is important to provide the children well-structured guidance and leading from violent movies to help and enforce the sense of reality and illusion. As Brown Thurston says, teach children to be critical rather than passive consumers. Adults need to be realistic about how powerful and enticing these images are. Educators, parents, and community members need to understand that influence we have in our children's lives. Media literacy is the skill of reading visual and the key to assist the realization of the violent media. The critical thinking are crucial to be applied in order to transform the more detailed shape in children's imagination later on.